All right, guys, welcome. You can see my hair is getting so long. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys how I send bettas to a show. Florida, I know, is having a betta show this weekend, and I want to send some of my betta rubra there so that they can get auctioned off and get into other betta people's hands. So to do that, first step is to find out information about the show. So I'm going to type in International Betta Congress and click on upcoming shows. Once we get here, it's going to give us a list of upcoming shows. All right, so there it is. First Coast Bettas International Show. Props on them for having a show during the pandemic. We're going to click Find More and try and find the show flyer, because the show flyer has all of the information we need to actually send bettas to a show. So there it is. And hopefully I can, there we go, perfect. So this is where I'm going to find out all the information that I need. So it is, the most important things are where to send your registration. You need to send it by Wednesday, that's tomorrow, October 14th. And then these are the mail-ins for the betta. So this is the address that you want your fish to get there. Must arrive by Thursday. Today is Tuesday. Gonna have to spring for overnight shipping, especially with how USPS is going. Can be expensive to send bettas to shows, but I'm going to show you a couple of ways to make it a little bit cheaper. And then they also want you to send the tracking, and then the entry is $3 per entry, $5 for pairs. We'll figure that out. Okay, so now I need to get the registration form. So again, I'm going to search International Betta Congress. The registration form is the same for all shows. So let's see if we can find it quickly. This is a great website too. I remember the old website was not as easy to navigate as this one. This one's fantastic. Apologies for the birds. They are in the living room with me. Okay, so we go to shows and show forms and files. Come on, little computer. All the computers are free like her. Doing a lot. My hair, driving me crazy. All right, now we're going to do, there are two things that we need here. We need the show entry form, so I'm going to open that. And we also need the international show class lists, and we need them from Area 1 English. Okay, so I'm in the United States in California, and I need Area 1. That's for the United States area. And I need it in English. So, oops, there it is. Why didn't the other one open? Oh, that's because it automatically downloaded as an Excel file. So let's go ahead and open this up. Now I'm going to enable editing. I'm not going to update it now. Okay. So to fill this out, you go to the very top. Basically just going to fill out your information here. If you're an IBC member, this is new. You need to put in your member number. Optional this year, but enforced next year. I'm going to fill this out on my own, but I'm going to be showing in regular because I'm an old hand at this. And then the show, oops, I'll go ahead and do this in the next little clip. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fill this in here. So First Coast Bettas is holding the show, and the show is, go back to the flyer, the show is October 16 through 18. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then no return. All fish to auction, please. So if you do want your fish back, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do, you're going to want to put in here the method by which it's getting returned. And then if you're doing that, you want to include a return label in your package when you send it. No special instructions for me. All the fish are going to go to auction. And I love how they have examples here. So you need to fill this part out, and the host is going to fill that part out. So basically you need to say if it's collector or purchase because they go into a different division. All of mine are not. Okay. And then they have some a pair here, and this is what I'm going to do because all of my fish are betta rubra, so they are wild bettas. The class is F, actually, I think it's F2 as well. So if we go here, these are all the different classes that your bettas could go into. Maybe I'll do another video on how to figure out which betta yours goes into because there are quite a few classes here. I am just going to go right to the wilds in the self-bred category. And let us see, my betta rubras are small mouth brooders. So let's see, F1, oh no, E, it used to be F, E1, E2, here we go. So E2 mouth brooder pairs or trios, that's new, large and small. Okay, trios are trial, must label sex and species. Trios are not awarded extra points. Excellent. I do have more males than females, so maybe I can make this work to my advantage. So we'll do E2, right? Mouth brooder pairs or trios. I'm going to go back to my other sheet. E2. Yes for the auction, right? And I am actually not sure how many pairs or trios I have right now. I'm going to fill that in after I fish them out of the tank. But I'm going to put map. That means it's going into the wild species program. Yeah, the wild entries are for the map program. Okay. And then I have betta rubra. I guess putting betta is somewhat, how do you say? What is it? Whatever you're repeating yourself unnecessarily. I forget the proper word. But I'll just put betta rubra. And then male. And then sold as pair. And then I'm just going to copy paste that and put female here. Then I think I might have some trios to send, but I will double check this before I send it. Okay. And I'm just gonna click and drag these here. All of this is the same. And there you go. So when I bag up my fish, which you're going to see in a second, I'm going to number each bag to correspond to that fish in here. Again, you want to leave all this empty for the host club to fill in. Let me just check. I'm going to come back to this after I am solid on how many fish I'm sending. And I'll show you guys how to fill this in, how to pay for your show registration fees. Okay, I'm about halfway through bagging these guys. You can see that one disadvantage to having the tanks set with the short side front is that it's really hard to get into the back of these tanks. So I basically had to pull out all of the material so that I could catch these fish. So a little bit annoying, but that's fine. One tip, so if you have jumpy fish, it helps to put a little bit of the just anything like decoration or Susvasser tang or guppy grass or whatever you have into these catch cups so that they are less inclined to jump out, although you can see that one is very determined. But putting that in there makes them feel a little bit more secure so that you don't have to mess around with lids too much while you are grabbing them out of the tank. So anyway, I got a bunch of them out. I'm keeping my big old adults, but I'm cleaning out the previous spawn so that the next spawn can have more room to grow. This one is already bagged, so what I'm going to do with the rest of them is I'm going to double bag them. You can see I have about half, well, it's from 1/3 to a half of water and the rest is air. This is important because bettas are of course air breathers, and you want to make sure that they fit into your box. So you want to have an insulated box here. I just quickly threw these insulation foam pieces into here, and I should be able to fit 4 bags. So 2 of these fish are going to have to be roomies for the trip because this is the largest box I have. But you want your bags to fit into the box very snugly. If you have a lot of extra space, then you're going to want to add some additional packing material so that they don't bounce around too much in the box. So I'm going to go ahead and bag up the rest of these guys. One thing I forgot to say is I like to set the bettas up in these cups first. It's easier to tell if they're male or female in the cups than it is in the bag. And as soon as I bag them, I make sure to put the gender, or rather the sex on there, so that I can tell right away which one it is. Because once they're in the bag, they get super stressed out, and it can be very difficult to tell if they're male or female. All right, so I figured out my pairs. I'm gonna have these two as my first pair. These are a pair, and then an extra male for auction. Normally, I don't suggest sending bettas like together in a bag, but these are a peaceful species. These are betta rubra. They've been living in a colony situation their entire life, and they're a pair, so they should be okay in transit on the way to the show. But most, like domestic bettas, you would never ever put more than one domestic betta in a bag. Even the females are way too aggressive for that. So the only reason I'm doing this is because these are peaceful wild betta species. Okay, so just make sure to never put domestic bettas together after they have been separated from each other. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make sure these guys fit in the box, and I'm going to finish up my registration form and also print my my postage. Okay, so I've updated my registration to reflect the fish that are in the box. You can see I've got a pair and a trio. I actually forgot that they allow trios into wild classes now, so I added that extra male as a trio to that pair. I've numbered all of my bags to reflect these numbers here. Oh my goodness, and you always need to double check. So male, female, male, and I'm going to say sold as trio here. Okay, sell it as a trio, make sure that everything makes sense. Okay. All right. Hopefully this works. Trio, trio, pair, pair. Another really common mistake is if you click and drag these, you can see that it changes the class numbers. So just make sure you don't do that. I realized that when I looked at the sheet again. So E2, E2, make sure everything's in order here. Then you put the numbers. So for numbers 1 through 5, I'm going to do pair entries. So there's, it doesn't say on the flyer exactly how much money it is per pair here. It says $3 per entry. And because and regular and wild type, and because wild types are nearly always in pairs or trios, I'm going to take it as $3 per pair or trio. So that's what I'm going to do here. If I need to give them more money, obviously I will, but I'm going to put $6 total here for my registration fees. And then you leave this one blank for the host to figure out. So $6 there. I think this is ready to print. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in my personal information and print this out. Hold on. Okay, now that I have my registration form all filled in with the correct information, I'm going to put it into a baggie, and then I'm going to give them lots of extra fish bags like that. You always want to make sure your registration form and your extra bags are in here. If you want your bettas to come home, you definitely want to give them enough bags for the return trip. This is enough bags for them to get into the auction. So I put in 6 bags, 1 extra because I'm sending 5 fish. Now I'm going to take my numbered fish and put them into the box. I was a little concerned with how tight it was with this lid, so I'm going to use this. This is Reflectix, and hopefully that insulates them well as well. And yeah, that's going to be perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And oops, oh my goodness, almost forgot the registration form and the bags. You want to make sure that's somewhere near the top. Make sure everything's nice and tight so nothing moves around. like that. And then seal her up. And then after I get it all like that, I'm going to use PayPal multi-order shipping to create a label at home so that I don't have to wait in line at the post office. Sometimes if you do it at the post office, they ask you questions like, why does this feel like there's liquid in it? But if you do it at home, no one asks you those questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and weigh this with my little postal scale. All right, here's my postal scale. You generally want to do this on a stable flat surface. Carpet's not the best, but that's okay. So it looks like it's 29.5 ounces. So I'm going to figure out how much that weighs and then put it into the multi-order PayPal calculator. Just covering up my personal information here, but everything is sealed up. Want to make sure that you remembered your registration and your Ziploc and your extra fish bags. Make sure that everything's in there. Check, because things get messy when you are shipping fish, as you can see, and sometimes it's very easy to forget something. I just wanted to point out that I love these stickies. So I have these labels that go right into my printer that I can put my shipping label, print my shipping labels on, and then I can just stick them onto my box. So those are an awesome way to not mess around with the clear packing tape, which is difficult to get onto the box nicely. So anyway, it is ready to go. I'm going to take this to the post office and cross my fingers that it makes it there in time. All right, just wanted to share with you guys that if you want a written instructions for everything that I showed in the video, you can go to my website, ingloriousbettas.com, and then go to fish shows and how to send bettas to a show. This will open up a page that tells you everything, like even before you are before you're sending them, how to select your show fish, how to flare train them, especially your domestic bettas, so that they do the best they can at the show. An old video on how to fill out your IBC entry form. I kind of had the same hairstyle, actually. Well, not really. The top is like driving me crazy now because I haven't had a haircut in months because of the pandemic. Packing your fish. Let's see. And figuring out postage. So this part I really couldn't go into detail in this video because of the personal information, but this is a step-by-step account on how to use the PayPal multi-order shipping. Looks different now, looks way better, but basically this is how you do the USPS click and ship so that you don't have to stand in line at the post office. And then talks a little bit about judging and what it's like to get your fish back from the show. And yeah, so I hope this video was helpful to you. And remember, there is tons of stuff on this website. I've really kept it up for you guys. There's just everything you could imagine on bettas that I have done, I have on this website. So, all right. Happy showing, guys.